00. Cold Open, the message. Commander Sarah Thane stood in the darkness of her private quarters, staring at a hologram that had been waiting for her when she returned from the medical bay. The timestamp read, recorded 3 hours ago. The image flickered to life. 3 massive Vorax mercenaries filled the frame, their grey skin pulled tight over corded muscle. Between them, small and trembling, knelt an 8-year-old girl with silver blue skin. Nyx, her daughter. But this recording was from before the rescue. Before the largest Vorax Krax leaned toward the camera. His teeth were filed to points. Commander Thane. His voice scraped like metal on stone. By the time you see this, you will have rescued your daughter. Your human pet will have taken a beating meant for her. And you will think you have won. He smiled. It looked like a predator's warning. But this message is not about today. It is about tomorrow and the day after. And in every day for the rest of your miserable life. Krax's hand clamped over Nyx's mouth in the recording. The girl's scream was muffled, terrified. We know your weakness now, Commander, your daughter, and that human who saved her. We will come for them again and again until you watch everyone you love die screaming. The hologram died. Sarah stood perfectly still in the darkness. She just spent 6 hours sitting vigil at Kate Thorne's bedside, the stranger who'd sacrificed himself to save Nyx, the cargo worker who'd taken a beating that should have killed him. Krax was in custody. His team was captured, but his words echoed in the empty room. We will come for them. For the first time in 30 years as a Zephyrian warrior commander, Sarah Thane felt utterly helpless. Title card 8 hours earlier. Dun General, the perfect commander. New Haven Station hung in stable orbit 1200 miles above Houston, Texas. From the observation deck you could see the curve of Earth below, blue and white and impossibly beautiful. The station itself was a Marvel 3 rotating rings connected by a central hub home to 40,000 souls from 63 different species. Commander Sarah Thane walked through the civilian sector with her daughter's hand in hers. Around them, the morning shift was beginning. Human workers in orange jumpsuits hauled cargo containers. Trilaxian merchants called out prices. A group of century diplomats argued near a coffee vendor. Nyx bounced with each step, her silver blue hair catching the light. At 8 years old, she had her mother's violet eyes and her father's curiosity. She wore a simple blue dress, not the formal robes of a Zephyrian child of rank. Mama, can we see the cargo bay? Nyx tugged on Sarah's hand. Teacher said Earth ships bring seeds from every continent. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. We can look, but don't touch anything. They turned a corner into Bay 7, where the morning shift was unloading a transport. The bay was massive 3 stories tall, with loading cranes suspended from the ceiling. Sarah scanned the area with a warrior's eye. Even on a simple outing with her daughter, she couldn't turn off the part of her brain that assessed threats. It was exhausting sometimes, being always ready, always vigilant. A man emerged from between cargo stacks, pushing a hover pallet. He was human, maybe 45, with brown-gray hair and careful controlled movements. His jumpsuit read, Thorne, across the back. Nyx, not watching where she was going, collided with the pallet. She stumbled. Sarah's hand shot out, catching her daughter before she fell. The man stopped immediately, his face going pale. Ma'am, I'm so sorry. I didn't see. Nyx giggled, already recovered. I'm okay, I wasn't looking. But the man didn't relax. His eyes stayed on the ground, shoulders hunched, like he expected punishment. Sarah recognized that posture. She'd seen it in soldiers with deep trauma. It's fine, Sarah said. Her tone came out sharper than intended. My daughter should watch where she walks. The man nodded quickly and started to move away. Wait, Nyx called. Are you from Earth, real Earth? The man Thorne paused. He glanced at Sarah, seeking permission. She gave a slight nod. Yes, he said quietly. Born in Colorado, mountains and forests. Nyx's eyes went wide. Does Earth really have oceans you can swim in? For the first time, the man's expression softened. The biggest oceans you can imagine, blue all the way to the horizon. When I was your age, my father took me and my sister on a boat trip. We saw a whale as big as a cargo shuttle. You have a sister. Something painful crossed his face. Had. She's gone now. An awkward silence fell. Sarah placed a hand on Nix's shoulder. Mr. Thorne has work to do. We shouldn't keep him. Relief flickered across the man's face. He nodded and disappeared between the cargo stacks. Nix watched him go. He seemed sad, Mama. Some people carry sadness. It's not our concern. But as they continued their tour, Sarah found herself thinking about the cargo worker, about the careful way he moved, about the moment his face had softened, talking about his sister before the walls went back up. Weak, she thought. Not like the warriors she commanded, not like her husband had been. Her communicator chimed. Fleet command. Urgent meeting. Sarah sighed. There was always something. Nix, I need to take this call. She flagged down Teacher Celia, a kind Andorian woman. Can you continue the tour? I'll meet you at the education center in an hour. Nix hugged her mother tight. Okay, Mama. Don't work too hard. Sarah watched her daughter skip away with the other children chattering about Earth and whales. For a moment she allowed herself to feel the weight of single parenthood. 8 years since her husband's death. She shook her head. No time for self-pity. Commander Sarah Thane straightened her uniform and headed for the command level. She had no idea that in 47 minutes her entire world would shatter. 5. The abduction. The fleet command briefing room was stark and efficient. White walls, holographic displays, a table seating 20. Admiral Corwin, a gruff Andorian, was mid-sentence when Sarah arrived. Reports of Vorax activity in Sector 7. 3 merchant ships boarded. Standard pirate tactics, but frequency is increasing. Sarah pulled up the tactical display. Red dots marked attack sites, forming a pattern creeping toward core systems. Recommendations, Admiral Corwin asked. Increase patrol density, Sarah said. Deploy fast response teams at jump points. They'll move to easier targets once they know we're watching. Standard anti-piracy doctrine. The meeting droned on. Resource allocation, patrol schedules, maintenance windows. Sarah's mind drifted to Nix. Was she enjoying the tour? Had Teacher Celia shown her the hydroponic gardens? Her personal communicator vibrated. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. Emergency signal. Sarah's blood went cold. She pulled out the device. Commander Thane, your daughter. Missing. Last seen maintenance level 3. Security footage shows abduction. 3 Vorax operatives. The room tilted. Sound became distant, muffled. Nix. Missing. Abducted. Commander Thane. Admiral Corwin's voice, I am from far away. Are you well? Sarah stood so fast, her chair clattered backward. Every eye in the room turned to her. I have to go. Her voice sounded strange, flat. Emergency. She didn't wait for dismissal. She simply walked out, her stride quickening until she was running through New Haven's corridors. Her daughter was missing. And for the first time in 30 years of military service, Commander Sarah Thane had absolutely no idea about what to do. 7 desperate measures. Sarah burst into station security like a storm. Chief Ryland looked up from his console, his face grim. Commander, we've got teams searching maintenance level 3. No sign yet, but we found evidence of forced entry into the secondary tunnel system. Sarah's hands gripped his desk. Show me the footage. The security video appeared. Timestamp 47 minutes ago. Children in a group, Teacher Sela leading them, and then Nix in her blue dress. A hand reached from a doorway, grabbed Nix's arm. The girl's mouth opened in a scream, cut short by a hand clamping over it. She was pulled into the maintenance corridor in less than 3 seconds. Professional, planned, precise. 3 Vorax operatives, Ryland said. Cracks Warren and Grell, mercenaries for hire. Where did they go? The maintenance tunnels, miles of corridors, hundreds of access points. Ryland hesitated. Commander, we're doing everything we can, but those tunnels are a maze. I want every available officer searching. Seal all exits. No one leaves this station. Already in progress. It wasn't enough. Sarah knew protocol. By the time they locked down exits, the Vorax could have nicks off station and out of reach. She needed another option. Movement caught her eye. In the corner, someone hunched over a secondary monitor. The cargo worker from this morning. Thorn. He was cycling through camera feeds, fingers moving quickly. "What is he doing here?" Sarah demanded. "Thorn saw your daughter being taken. Came straight to us, says he knows the maintenance system, used to be a marine engineer." Sarah crossed to where Thorn sat. He didn't look up, focused entirely on the screens. "There," he said quietly pointing. "Maintenance junction M47. 3 large figures. Timestamp puts them 12 minutes behind your daughter's abduction." Sarah looked. Poor image quality, wrong angle. But she could make out shapes. 3 Vorax moving with purpose. "They're heading toward the old industrial section," Thorn continued. "Scheduled for demolition next month. Half the systems offline. Perfect place to hide." He pulled up a schematic. His finger traced the route through the tunnels. "If they stick to areas without cameras, they'll use this path. It's the only way that doesn't expose them." Sarah studied the map. She'd never bothered learning the maintenance systems that was beneath a fleet commander. "How certain are you?" 80%. He finally looked at her. His eyes were clear focused, not the nervous man from the cargo bay. "But Commander, if you send a security team, they'll hear you coming. Those tunnels echo. The Vorax will know you're there before you get within 50 feet. Then what do you suggest?" Thorn hesitated. "Small team. 2 people max. Someone who knows how to move quiet and someone who can fight when it matters." He was volunteering. This stranger was offering to walk into a Vorax ambush. Why? The word came out harsh. Why would you risk yourself for a child you don't know? Something painful crossed Thorn's face. Old grief, worn smooth but never forgotten. "I had a sister, Lily, 16 years old, when our transport lost power in an asteroid field. I was on a different ship. I watched her die on a screen just like you watched your daughter get taken." He stood, meeting Sarah's eyes with something like defiance. "There was nothing I could do then. This time there's something I can do. And I'm not going to stand by and watch another kid die if I can help it." Sarah looked at this man, this broken, grieving man, who was offering her the only hope she had. Every instinct screamed it was a bad idea. He wasn't a soldier anymore. He was a civilian, soft from years of pushing cargo. But her daughter was running out of time. And this man knew the way. Sarah Thane, who had commanded thousands, who had never asked for help, who had built her identity on being strong enough to handle anything alone, made the hardest choice of her life. She looked at Kate Thorne and said the words that felt like swallowing glass. "Please, help me save my daughter." 10 hovered into the darkness. They moved through the station like ghosts. Sarah had changed into combat gear, light armor weapon at her hip. Thorne wore his cargo jumpsuit carrying only a heavy flashlight and maintenance toolkit. The entrance to the tunnels was behind unused equipment. Thorne keyed in an override code and the door hissed open. Darkness waited beyond. "Stay close," Thorne said. "Try to step where I step. Some of these catwalks aren't stable." They descended into New Haven's underworld. The tunnels were narrow, barely wide enough for 2. Pipes lined the walls, some humming with power, others cold and silent. The air smelled of oil and recycled oxygen. Sarah had spent her career in clean, orderly command decks. This underworld was alien, but Thorne moved through it like he was born here. "How do you know these tunnels so well?" Sarah asked quietly. "Spent a lot of time down here when I first came to the station. Easier than being around people." They walked in silence. The only sounds were footsteps and the ever-present hum of station systems. Then Thorne stopped, held up a hand. Sarah froze. She heard voices echoing from ahead. Deep, rough, speaking in Vorax. Thorne pointed to a junction where the tunnel split 3 ways. He leaned close, his breath warm against her ear. 2 guards, watching the approach, not expecting anyone from behind. "How do you know?" "Because I'd put guards in the same place." Sarah studied the junction. Good sight lines, multiple escape routes. Whoever planned this knew tactics. We need to take them quietly, Sarah whispered. If they raise an alarm, they'll kill your daughter, I know. Thorn was already moving, staying low using pipes for cover. Sarah followed. She was a fleet commander trained in strategy and large-scale tactics. Hand to hand had never been her strength. She hoped it would be enough. They approached from opposite sides. Through gaps in the pipes, Sarah saw two Vorax guards. Each was massive, 7 feet of muscle. They carried shock batons crackling with blue energy. Thorn caught her eye, held up 3 fingers. 2, 1. They moved. Sarah came in from the left, knife already drawn. The Vorax sensed movement and turned, but she was faster. She drove the blade into the gap between armor plates exactly where academy training said the nerve cluster would be. The Vorax grunted and swung his baton. It caught her shoulder. Pain exploded through her body, her muscles seizing vision, going white. But she didn't let go of the knife. She twisted it, found something vital, and the Vorax collapsed. On the other side, Thorn had tackled his target. The Vorax was bigger, stronger, but Thorn fought like someone who'd done this before. He used the length of pipe as a lever, got it across the Vorax's throat, and choked him unconscious in brutal, efficient seconds. Then it was over. 2 Vorax down. Silence returned. Sarah leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Her shoulder throbbed where the baton had hit. Thorn was checking the unconscious guards. His hands were steady, professional. You said you were a marine engineer, Sarah said. I was. I also did 3 tours in hostile territory. You don't survive that without learning how to fight. He looked at her. Are you okay? Fine. She pushed off the wall, ignoring the pain. Which way? Thorn pointed down the center tunnel. Maybe 10 minutes. They left the guards and pressed deeper. The tunnel sloped downward, the air growing colder. Water dripped somewhere, echoing off metal walls. Why did you leave the Marines? Sarah asked. Partly to distract herself from thoughts of Nix, partly because she wanted to know. Thorn was quiet for a long moment. After Lily died, I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't give orders that might get people killed. Couldn't be responsible for lives when I couldn't save my own sister. He shook his head. So I mustered out, found the quietest job I could, spent 5 years moving boxes and trying not to think. Does it work not thinking? No, but it's easier than remembering. Sarah understood. After her husband died, she'd thrown herself into work. Command kept her busy, kept her focused. If she stopped moving, the grief would catch up. Maybe she and this cargo worker weren't so different. They reached another junction. Thorn checked his mental map, pointed right. But as they turned the corner, Sarah heard something that made her blood run cold. Crying. A child crying. Nix. Every instinct screamed at Sarah to run toward that sound. But Thorn's hand on her arm stopped her. Wait, he breathed. Listen. Sarah forced herself to be still, to listen beyond Nick's sobbing. Other voices, 3 of them, Vorax, and one was Crack's. She recognized his grinding tone. Tell us where your mother keeps the command codes, Crack's was saying. Tell us, and we'll let you go. Father, I don't know. Nix's voice was thick with tears. I'm just a kid. Mama doesn't tell me about work. The sound of a slap. Nix screamed. Sarah started forward, but Thorn's grip tightened. If we charge in now, they'll kill her before we reach them. They have energy weapons. We have a knife and a pipe. We need a plan. My daughter is being tortured. Thorn stepped in front of her, blocking her path. His eyes were hard. I care, because a bad plan gets all 3 of us killed. And I'm not watching another kid die because someone acted without thinking. Sarah wanted to hit him, wanted to scream, but she knew he was right. Her rage would get Nix killed. She forced herself to breathe, to think like a commander, not a mother. What do you suggest? Thorn looked around, calculating. I go in first. Draw their attention. You use your communicator encrypted channel. Call for backup, quietly. They'll kill you. Probably. But I'm harder to kill than I look. He smiled. And it was the saddest thing Sarah had ever seen. And every second I keep them busy, is another second for backup to arrive. Another second your daughter stays alive. Sarah stared at this man offering to die for a child he'd met once for 5 seconds. Why? She whispered. Why would you do this? Thorn looked toward the sound of Nix's crying. Because I couldn't save Lily. But maybe I can save her. He pulled off his tool belt, handed Sarah the heavy flashlight. When I go in, you stay hidden. Get that message sent. And when backup arrives, you get your daughter out. Don't wait for me. Thorn, promise me, Commander, you get Nix out. That's what matters. Time was running out. This man, this brave broken man, was offering her the only chance she had. For 30 years, Sarah Thane had been the one giving orders, the one in command, the one who knew best. Now she had to trust a stranger, had to let someone else lead, had to admit she couldn't do this alone. It was the hardest thing she'd ever done. She nodded. I promise. Thorn took a breath, squared his shoulders, and for a moment, Sarah saw the Marine he used to be. Then, he stepped around the corner and shouted, Hey, leave the kid alone! And everything went to hell. 20 months, the sacrifice. The tunnel opened into a wider chamber, an old storage depot long abandoned. Crates stacked against walls covered in dust. Emergency lights flickered, casting everything in sickly yellow. In the center, Nix knelt on the floor. Her blue dress was torn. Her face was marked with bruises. 3 Vorax mercenaries stood over her cracks, Vorn and Grell. They all turned when Thorn appeared. For a heartbeat, nobody moved. Then, Krax laughed. It sounded like stones grinding. Look, brothers, a human. A little human who thinks he's a hero. Krax took a step toward Thorn. Do you know what we do to heroes? Don't care, Thorn said. His voice was steady. Let the kid go and you can do whatever you want to me. Vorn pulled out a shock baton, blue energy, crackling. Brave words. Let's see how brave you are when we peel your skin off. Nix's eyes went wide. No, don't hurt him. Quiet, girl. Grell backhanded her casually. Nix's head snapped to the side. Thorn moved before he could think. He charged the Grell, got one good punch in a solid hit to the throat that made the Vorax stagger, choking. Then, the other 2 hit him. Krax's fist caught Thorn in the stomach. Air left his lungs in a rush. He doubled over and Vorn's baton slammed into his back. Electricity surged through him. Every muscle locked, every nerve screaming. He hit the floor hard. Get up, hero, Krax said. We're just getting started. From her hiding spot, 30 feet away, Sarah watched in horror. Her hands shook as she activated her communicator, sending an encrypted burst to the nearest Marine unit. Maintenance level 3, old industrial section, 3 Vorax hostiles, civilian and child in danger. Immediate backup required. Confirmation blinked on her screen. Help was coming. 5 minutes, maybe 6, but Thorn didn't have 5 minutes. On the chamber floor, Thorn pushed himself up on shaking arms. Blood dripped from his nose, mixing with dust. He looked at Nix, meeting her terrified eyes. It's okay, he said. His voice was rough, broken. You're going to be okay. Krax kicked him in the ribs. Sarah heard something crack. Stubborn little human. Krax grabbed Thorn by the collar, lifted him like he weighed nothing. Who sent you? The commander? Does she think one man can stop us? Thorn spat blood. Nobody sent me. I came because someone had to. Had to. Krax slammed Thorn against the crate. Had to save some alien brat. You're stupider than I thought. Maybe. Thorn's eyes found Nix again. But she's just a kid, and kids deserve someone to protect them. Vorn hit him with the baton again. More electricity, more pain. Thorn screamed, couldn't help it, but he didn't fall. Krax looked genuinely puzzled. Why won't you stay down? Thorn smiled through bloody teeth. Because she's still scared, and as long as she's scared, I'm getting back up. Sarah watched from the shadows, and something broke open inside her chest. She had always thought strength meant being invincible, unbreakable, never showing weakness. But this man, this civilian who flinched when spoken to, who'd spent 5 years hiding from the world, was showing her what real strength looked like. It wasn't about being unbreakable. It was about breaking and getting back up anyway. It was about choosing to suffer so someone else wouldn't have to. It was about love. The beating continued, methodical, brutal, calculated to cause maximum pain without killing. Thorn fell 4 times. 4 times he dragged himself back to his feet. Sarah's communicator showed the timer. 3 minutes until backup. Please, she thought, please let him last 3 more minutes. Thorn's face was unrecognizable. His nose broken, left eye swollen shut. He moved like every breath was agony. But he stayed between the Vorax and Nyx, a human shield that refused to fall. "Mama!" Nyx screamed suddenly. "Mama, please make them stop." The girl was looking right at Sarah's hiding spot. She'd known. All this time, Nyx had known her mother was there. Sarah's hand went to her weapon. Every instinct screamed at her to attack, but she couldn't, not without getting them all killed. All she could do was watch, send the message, pray help arrived in time. Thorn fell again. This time he didn't get up as fast. His arms shook. Blood pooled beneath him. "Stay down, human," Krax said, almost gently. "You've done enough." Thorn's hand found a piece of broken crate. He used it to lever himself up, one knee, then both feet, swaying, barely conscious, but standing. "Not yet," he whispered. "Not while she needs me." Krax shook his head. "You're going to die for nothing. You know that, right?" "Not nothing." Thorn honked at Nyx one last time. "For her." Krax raised his fist for the final blow. The wall exploded inward. Zephyrian Marines poured through, the breech weapons raised. 20 soldiers in full combat armor, moving with lethal precision. The Vorax didn't have time to react. Stun rounds hit them from 3 sides. Krax, Vorn and Grell collapsed, convulsing. It was over in 5 seconds. The Marine captain barked orders. "Secure the hostiles' medic to the civilians." Sarah burst from her hiding place and ran to Nyx. Her daughter threw herself into Sarah's arms, sobbing. "Mama, mama, mama." "I've got you, baby. You're safe. You're safe now." But Nyx pulled back her violet eyes, urgent. "Mama, help him. Please help him." Sarah looked over. A Marine medic knelt beside Thorn, who had finally collapsed. His breathing was shallow, labored. Blood covered his face, chest, hands. He'd taken a beating meant to break him, had endured it long enough to give Sarah time to save her daughter. Sarah left Nyx with a Marine and crossed to where Thorn lay. She knelt beside him, taking his hand. His eyes fluttered open. That broken smile appeared. "Kid, okay. Yes, thanks to you." "Good. That's good." The medic was working fast, injecting stabilizers, sealing wounds. But Sarah could see the damage. Internal bleeding, broken ribs, possible skull fracture. "Why?" Sarah asked, the question escaping before she could stop it. "Why did you do this?" Thorn's smile faded. His eyes looked past her, seeing something far away. "Couldn't save Lily," he murmured. "But I could save her. Had to save her." His eyes closed. The medic cursed and increased the medication flow. "We need to get him to medical now," the medic said. "Commander, you need to step back." Sarah stood, her hand still holding Thorn's. She looked down at this stranger who had given everything to protect her daughter. She'd commanded thousands of soldiers, had seen bravery on a dozen battlefields. But she'd never seen anything like this. This wasn't duty. This wasn't following orders. This was one man choosing to suffer so one child could live. As the medics lifted Thorn onto a stretcher, Sarah made a decision that would change everything. She would not let this man die alone. She would not abandon him the way she'd been forced to watch her husband die across a comm screen. This time, she would be there. She would fight for him the way he'd fought for Nyx. Because Cade Thorn had just shown her something she'd forgotten in 8 years of grief and duty. That sometimes strength meant needing someone. That sometimes the bravest thing you could do was ask for help. That family wasn't just blood, it was who you chose to fight for. Mama, Nix was beside her holding her hand. Is he going to die? I don't know, baby. He has to live. He's my guardian. He saved me. Guardian. The word resonated. In Zafirian culture, there was a concept Ketharan, sacred guardianship. When someone willingly sacrificed themselves to protect a child not their own, it created a bond of honor. Kate Thorne didn't know it, but by his actions today, he had become part of their family, and Sarah would not let him die alone. Basic Solobrand. Vigil 6 hours later, Sarah sat in a chair beside Kate Thorne's bed in the medical bay. Nix was asleep in her lap, exhausted from crying. The girl's hand still clutched a piece of Thorne's torn jumpsuit, something she'd refused to let go of. The doctors had stabilized him. Induced coma to manage the trauma. Broken ribs, fractured skull, internal bleeding, severe nerve damage from the shock batons. They said it was a miracle he'd survived at all. Sarah watched the monitors, heartbeat steady, respiration stable, brain activity normal. He would live. She closed her eyes and let herself feel the weight of the day, the terror of Nix's abduction, the helplessness of watching Thorne take that beating, the relief when the Marines arrived, and underneath it all, something else, something she hadn't felt in 8 years. Gratitude that went deeper than words, connection to another soul. The beginning of something she didn't have a name for yet. Her communicator buzzed. She checked it quietly, careful not to wake Nix. The message made her blood run cold. It was a recording, timestamp 3 hours ago, from Crax's cell in the brig. She pulled up the video. Crax's face filled the screen, battered from his capture, but smiling. Commander Thane, you think you've won, saved your daughter, captured my team, but you didn't win. You only showed me your weakness. He leaned closer. For 30 years I couldn't touch you. You were too strong, too perfect. But now I know the truth. You have two weaknesses, your daughter and that human who saved her. Grell appeared beside Crax in the recording. My associate has friends, Crax said. Friends who are very unhappy about what happened today. And they're coming for you, Commander, coming for your daughter, coming for your human guardian. We'll kill them both, slowly, while you watch, and there's nothing you can do to stop us. The recording ended. Sarah sat in the darkness, her hand tightening on Thorne's. The threat was real. The Voraks never bluffed. They would come, and when they did, they would target the two people she couldn't afford to lose. But this time Sarah Thane would be ready. This time she wouldn't hide and hope. This time she would fight. Because Kate Thorne had shown her something today. That strength wasn't about being invincible. It was about getting back up no matter how many times you fell. She pulled up her communicator and sent 3 messages. First to station security, maximum security on Kate Thorne. Medical bay room 7, guards at all times. Second to the Zafirian Council requesting information on Ketharan Guardian protocols. Urgent. And finally to herself, a reminder, a promise. I will not let you die alone. Kate Thorne, you saved my family. Now I will save you. Outside her window, New Haven Station continued its endless orbit. The stars turned overhead. Somewhere in the medical bay, a broken man slept, dreaming perhaps of mountains and a sister who would never grow old. Sarah Thane made a vow to the darkness. When the Voraks came again, and they would come, they would learn what it meant to threaten a Zafirian mother. They would learn that Commander Sarah Thane protected her own, all of them. Kate Thorne drifted in the space between sleep and waking, where pain was distant and memories were close. He dreamed of Lily, always Lily, her laugh echoing through Colorado mountains, the way she'd grab his hand when thunder rolled. Mr. Thorne, please wake up. The voice was small, young, not Lily. Kate's eyes opened slowly. Light hurt. Everything hurt. He was in a hospital bed surrounded by beeping machines and holographic displays. A small face hovered near his. Silver blue skin. Violet eyes filled with hope. Nix. Memory crashed back. The tunnels. The Voraks. The beating. You're awake. Nix's face split into a huge smile. I told Mama you were too stubborn to stay asleep forever. Kate tried to speak. His throat was sandpaper. A medical droid extended a tube with water. He drank gratefully. How long? 4 weeks. A deeper voice answered. Sarah Thane stepped into view. She looked different. Hair down instead of pulled back. Civilian clothes instead of uniform. Dark circles under her eyes. You've been in a medically induced coma. The doctor said it was the only way to manage the internal damage. She paused. They said you shouldn't have survived. Cade looked down at himself, chest wrapped in regenerative bandages, left arm in a brace, the dull ache of healing bones. Nix, he said, you're okay. The girl nodded vigorously. Because of you, you saved me. Good. Cade let his head fall back. That's all that matters. Sarah made a sound between a laugh and a sob. The doctors tell me you have 2.3 million credits in medical bills. Your insurance covers maybe 10%. Cade's eyes closed. He'd be in debt forever. Maybe he should have died in that tunnel. I'm paying it, Sarah said firmly. All of it. Before you argue, it's not negotiable. In Zafirian culture, when someone performs Ketharan sacred guardianship, the protected family is responsible for the guardian's well-being. She pulled up a chair. Nix climbed into her lap. You saved my daughter. That makes you family. Which means you're moving into our quarters as soon as you're released. We take care of our own. Cade wanted to argue. Wanted to say he didn't need charity. But the words wouldn't come. Because deep down in a place he'd locked away 5 years ago, he was tired of being alone. Okay, he whispered. Thank you. Nix bounced. You're going to live with us. I can show you everything and teach you Zafirian. Nix, Sarah said gently. Othorne needs rest. Cade, he corrected. Just Cade. Sarah's expression softened. Then Cade it is. Rest now. We'll be here when you wake. As consciousness faded, Cade heard Nix whisper to her mother. You came every day, didn't you, Mama? Every single day, baby. I couldn't leave him alone after what he did for us. The words followed Cade into sleep. For the first time in 5 years, his dreams weren't filled with regret. 32 Zeror New Life. The Zafirian quarters on level 5 were nothing like Cade's old apartment. That had been a box, 4 walls, a bed, a processor. Empty. This was a home. Actual furniture. A couch curving along the window with a view of Earth. Bookshelves filled with data chips and paper books. Pictures showing Nix at different ages. And a few of a Zafirian male Sarah's late husband. Your room, Sarah said, gesturing to a door. Small, but it has a window and private bathroom. Cade stood in the doorway, 3 times the size of his old place. Comfortable bed, desk chair closet with fresh clothes already hanging. This is too much. It's what you deserve. Sarah crossed her arms. And I'm still technically your commanding officer. I can make it an order. Despite himself, Cade smiled. It felt strange, like muscles remembering an old exercise. Nix appeared carrying books. Cade, I brought my favorites about Earth. You can tell me if they're true or made up. She dumped them on his bed, immediately flipping through one. This says there are fish as big as starships. That can't be real, right? Cade sat carefully, ribs still aching. He looked at the illustration, a blue whale. That's real. They're called whales. I saw one when I was your age. My dad took me and Lily on a boat trip off California. Nix's eyes went wide. You saw one? Yeah. Came right up next to our boat. So close I could have touched it. Lily was terrified at first, but then she started laughing. Said it looked like it was smiling. The memory was sharp and clear. Lily's face bright with wonder. The whale's impossibly wise eye. Cold ocean spray. He realized Nix was staring with rapt attention. So was Sarah. Tell me more, Nix demanded. Everything about Earth. For the next hour, Cade talked about mountains and forests, storms and cities. Nix asked over 1,000 questions. Cade answered them all, feeling something inside slowly unthaw. When Nix finally went to bed, Sarah stayed. Thank you, she said. She hasn't smiled like that since the abduction. The nightmares have been difficult. I'm sorry. Don't be. You're the reason she's alive to have nightmares. Sarah moved to the window. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Why did you really come to New Haven? Your records show you requested the most remote isolated posting available. Cade was quiet, finally. After Lily died, I couldn't be around people. Every time I saw someone happy, someone with family, it hurt. So I found a place where I could disappear, where nobody knew me or cared, where I could just exist. That sounds incredibly lonely. It was, but it was easier than feeling. Sarah turned to face him. In dim lights, she looked younger, more vulnerable. My husband died 8 years ago. Commander Thane, yes, Nix has his name. He was defending a colony when Vorax attacked. He could have retreated, saved himself and his crew. But there were 10,000 civilians, so he stayed, fought until his ship was destroyed. I'm sorry. I was proud and furious. He left me alone with a newborn and a hole I didn't know how to fill. So I became the perfect commander, strong, untouchable. I told myself I didn't need anyone. She met Cade's eyes. You showed me I was wrong when I saw you stand up over and over knowing you'd die. I realized strength isn't about being invincible. It's about choosing to protect others even when it costs everything. Cade didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. Sarah smiled, real, not the commander's mask. Get some rest. Tomorrow, Nix wants to show you the gardens. Fair warning, she'll talk about plants for 3 hours. I don't mind. I know. That's what makes you special. She left. Cade was alone in his new room. Through the window, earth turned below. He pulled out his wallet, removed the worn photograph. Lily's smile looked up at him. I think you'd like them, he whispered. Nix reminds me of you. Same curiosity, same fearlessness. He placed the photo on the desk where he could see it. A reminder of what he'd lost, but also maybe of why he'd been given a second chance to protect another little girl who deserved to grow up safe and loved. Sepmaran, reactor crisis. The alarm cut through breakfast like a knife. Cade was teaching Nix to make scrambled eggs, real ones, not synthesized when every screen flashed red. Attention! Reactor breach detected. Section 9. Radiation leak in progress. All personnel evacuate immediately. Sarah was on her feet instantly pulling up station schematics. Secondary reactor. If it goes critical, it'll take out half the station. Mama, Nix's voice was small. It's okay, baby. The engineers will fix it. But Sarah's expression said otherwise. Cade's training kicked in. What's the situation? 4 maintenance workers trapped during repairs when containment failed. Chamber filling with radiation. Human lethal levels in 20 minutes. Can't they evacuate? Blast door sealed automatically. Won't open until radiation drops could take hours. They'll be dead in 30 minutes. Sarah's jaw clenched. Engineer teams are suited up, but even in rat suits, they can only last 10 minutes. Not enough time to cut through and evacuate 4 people. Cade was already moving. Humans have better radiation tolerance. How long could I last? Sarah grabbed his arm. What are you talking about? Saving those workers. Give me the Mantrat suit and point me at that door. Absolutely not. You just got out of medical. Which is why I need to go now before I think too hard. Cade met her eyes. 4 people are going to die, Sarah. 4 people with families. I can get them out. You could die. Yeah, but if I don't try, they definitely die. Nix appeared, eyes wide with fear. Cade, please don't go. What if you don't come back? Cade knelt to her level, ignoring protesting ribs. Remember what you told me about whales big and strong? Nix nodded, tears starting. Humans aren't big or strong, but we're relentless, and sometimes that's enough. He squeezed her hand. I'll be careful, I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep, Sarah said, voice tight. Cade stood, meeting her gaze. 4 people need help. I'm their best chance. You'd do the same. Something shifted in Sarah's expression. Anger, fear, and understanding. You're right. I would. She stepped close, so close Cade could see silver flecks in her violet eyes. which is why I know exactly how reckless this is. Then she did something that shocked him completely. She slapped him. Not hard, but sharp enough to sting. That's for making me care about you. Her voice cracked. Now go save those people. But if you die down there, I will find a way to bring you back just so I can kill you myself. The words hung between them, making me care about you. Not gratitude, not duty, care. Cade smiled despite everything. Yes, ma'am. 42's word. Into the fire. 20 minutes later, Cade was in the deepest station levels, wearing a rat suit that felt like lead. The radiation counter on his wrist was already climbing. Yellow, orange, red. The trapped workers were behind a door marked with radiation warnings. Through the small window, he could see them, 3 humans, 1 Trilaxian, all collapsed. Unconscious or dead, he couldn't tell. His counter was screaming, deep red, critical. No time for clean cuts. He fired up the torch and went to work. The door was reinforced steel, designed to withstand exactly this breach. It fought him every centimeter. Sparks flew. His hands started shaking. Radiation sickness setting in. Nausea rolled through him. But those people didn't have time for him to be weak. The door finally gave with a screech. Cade kicked it open, stumbled inside. 3 workers breathing. The 4th, the Trilaxian, wasn't moving. Cade grabbed the nearest human. A woman maybe 30 dragged her toward the door. Dead weight. Got her outside. Went back for the 2nd. Then the 3rd. His radiation counter had stopped beeping. That was bad. Meant levels were too high to measure. The Trilaxian was last. Cade grabbed him under the arms, pulled. Heavy. 3-fingered hands dragging. Halfway to the door, Cade's legs gave out. He fell to his knees, vision blurring. The rat suit alarms screamed. His body felt like fire from inside. Just a little further. He crawled, dragging the Trilaxian. 5 feet. 3, 1. They crossed the threshold together. Emergency bulkhead slammed shut. Medical teams swarmed. Someone pulled off his helmet, shouting about radiation levels. Cade tried to tell them to check the workers first, but his mouth wouldn't form words. The last thing he saw was Sarah's face, pale and furious and terrified. "You stubborn, impossible, heroic fool," she was saying. Then, nothing. Hospital confessions. Cade woke in medical again, becoming a habit, but something was different. Weight on his hand, warmth. He turned his head carefully and saw Sarah sitting beside his bed. She'd fallen asleep in the chair, head resting on her arms, hand holding his. She looked exhausted, beautiful but exhausted. "You're staring," she said without opening her eyes. "Sorry, didn't mean to wake you." "You didn't." Sarah sat up but didn't let go. "I wasn't really asleep, just resting." "How long?" 3 days. Not as bad as before, but you have significant radiation exposure. Treatments flushing your system. You'll recover fully, but it was close. The workers, all alive. Thanks to you, the Trilaxian Kelvor woke yesterday. Asked about the human who saved him. When I told him, he cried. Said his daughter is Nix's age. Said he thought he'd never see her again. Cade closed his eyes. "Good. Why did you do it?" Sarah's voice was quiet but intense. "And don't say it was right. I need to understand why you keep risking your life for strangers." Cade was quiet. When he spoke, the words came from deep. "After Lily died, I spent months asking why. Why her and not me? Why did I get to live when she was the good one, the one who mattered? I couldn't find an answer." He opened his eyes. "So I decided if I was going to keep living, it had to mean something. Every time I save someone, it's like I'm balancing the scales, making up for the one person I couldn't save." Sarah's hand tightened. "Cade, you can't spend your life trying to die for others." "I'm not trying to die. I'm trying to make my life mean something." "It already means something." Her voice cracked. "It means something to Nix. It means something to me." Cade turned to look at her. Really look. The way she looked at him wasn't just gratitude. It was something deeper, something terrifying. "Sarah, let me finish." She took a breath. When my husband died, I swore I'd never love anyone again. Love made you weak, vulnerable, made you feel like your heart was being torn out. I know the feeling. But you, Sarah smiled through gathering tears. You showed me that love also makes you strong. Strong enough to stand when you know you'll fall. Strong enough to run into radiation for strangers. Strong enough to give everything for someone else's child. She stood still, holding his hand and leaned close. My husband was a warrior, brave and noble and strong. I loved him. But Cade, you're something else. You're not trained for heroism. You're not built for this. You're just a man who keeps choosing to be good no matter what it costs. Her forehead touched his, the Zephyrian gesture of deep affection. And I think I'm falling in love with you. The words hung between them. Cade's heart raced, and for once it had nothing to do with medical trauma. I'm broken, he whispered. Nightmares, PTSD, I'm not a prize. Neither am I. Single mother with trust issues and a dangerous job. We're both disasters. Then we're perfect for each other. Sarah laughed, a sound like breaking ice. Is that a yes? That's a I'm terrified but I want to try. Good enough. She kissed him. Not the Zephyrian way, but the human way. And for the first time in 5 years, Cade felt something other than grief. He felt hope. 50th Vorax returns. Station alarms woke them both. Cade had been released 2 days ago. He and Sarah were having dinner with Nix when the emergency broadcast started. Attention, hostile vessels approaching. All military personnel to battle stations. Civilians to emergency shelters. Sarah was moving before the announcement finished. Nix, your room. Emergency bag. Now. What's happening? Precaution, baby. Quickly. Sarah pulled up her command interface. The display showed New Haven's perimeter. 3 ships approaching fast. Vorax raiders. They're hitting while I'm off ship, Sarah said. The fleet is on patrol in Sector 7. 40 minutes to return. How long until they arrive? Cade asked. 20 minutes. Nix emerged with a backpack. Sarah grabbed her, hugged tight. You're going to the shelter on level 2. Cade will take you. What about you? I need to get to my ship. Take command. She looked at Cade. Keep her safe. Always. Sarah kissed her daughter's forehead, then surprised Cade by kissing him. Quick but fierce. Come back, he said. I always do. She was gone, running for military levels. Cade took Nix's hand. Come on, kid. Somewhere safe. The corridors were chaos. Civilians flooding toward shelters. Security maintaining order. Distant impacts. The station shuddered. They reached Shelter 2, a reinforced bunker in the core. Zephyrian Marines guarded the entrance. Cade got next to the door, knelt down. You'll be fine. This bunker can survive anything. You're coming too, right? He hesitated. Every instinct said stay. Protect her directly. But there were others. Other civilians needing help. I need to help with evacuation. But I'll be right outside. Cade, please! The station rocked. Harder. Lights flickered. A Marine sergeant appeared. Sir, we need to seal the bunker. Go, Cade told Nix. I'll see you soon. He watched the door close, saw her frightened face through the window. Then he turned to the sergeant. Where do you need me? Fitri Mandikun cornered. The attack was worse than expected. The Vorax weren't raiding. They were boarding. Cade found himself with security personnel evacuating outer sections. He'd just gotten a Century family to safety when the explosion hit. The corridor wall blew inward. Through smoke and debris, Cade saw them. 5 Vorax in combat armor. Leading them was Grell, escaped from custody, who'd sworn revenge. Grell's eyes locked on Cade. You! The security team opened fire. Energy bolts splashed off Vorax shields. Then the Vorax returned fire. The team went down in seconds. Cade dove behind a column, but he had no weapon, nothing but a maintenance tool. The Vorax advanced. Cade ran, leading them away from civilians. He made it 3 corridors before they cornered him. No exits, no cover. Just him and 5 Vorax warriors. Grell removed his helmet. His smile was terrible. The Guardian, the human hero. He pulled out a shock baton. Crack sends his regards from prison. He wanted us to make this slow. Cade raised the tool, pathetic compared to their weapons. Come on then. They came. The beating was professional, calculated. They'd learned from before. They knew he'd keep getting up. Cade went down hard, tried to rise, got kicked back. Through pain, through blood, he heard a sound that stopped his heart. The bunker door opening. No, she wouldn't, but she had. Nix had slipped out when Marines weren't looking, followed the fighting. Now she stood at corridor's end, staring in horror. Cade! She screamed. Grell's head whipped around. His smile widened. A bonus. He started toward Nix. Cade didn't think. Grabbed Grell's ankle, pulled. The Vorax stumbled, turned with a snarl, brought his baton down. Electricity surged. Every muscle seized. But Cade didn't let go. Run! He screamed at Nix. Run! The girl was frozen. The other 4 Vorax advanced on her. Then the world exploded. Fikasibe Maror, Sarah's fury. The far wall disintegrated in an energy blast. Through smoke, a figure in full Zafirian combat armor strode forward. Sarah Thane transformed into a weapon of war. Her armor was scorched from battle weapons, hot from use, but her eyes were death itself. Get away from my family. What happened next was carnage. Sarah moved like liquid violence. The first Vorax died before raising his weapon. The second fired, but the shot splashed off shields. She killed him with bare hands. The third and fourth rushed together. Mistake. She used one as a shield, let him absorb fire, broke his neck, shot the other. Grell was backing away, trying to activate a shield. Sarah shot it from his hand, grabbed him by the throat, slammed him against the wall, hard enough to crack metal. You touched my daughter, she said utterly calm. You hurt the man I love. Give me one reason not to kill you. Commander, a Marine appeared. We need him for intelligence. Sarah's hand tightened. For a moment, Cade thought she'd kill Grell anyway. Then something shifted in her eyes. The fury remained, but it was controlled, directed. She wasn't just a warrior anymore. She was a mother, a protector, someone who'd learned that strength meant making hard choices. She threw Grell at the Marines. Take him. If he escapes, I'm holding you responsible. She ran to Nix, scooped up her daughter, then to Cade, kneeling beside him. You came back, he said through split lips. I left my command post, left the bridge during battle, broke every regulation. She touched his face gently. And I'd do it again because you and Nix matter more than anything. The station is fine. We drove them off, but none of that matters if I lose you. Her voice broke. Don't you understand I can't lose you? I can't do this alone anymore. Cade managed a smile. Good thing you don't have to. Fuck the proposal. 1 week later, Cade was in medical with minor injuries. Getting tired of this place, the door opened. Sarah and Nix entered both, wearing formal Zafirian robes. Sarah carried something glowing with soft blue light, a ceremonial crystal. We need to talk, Sarah said. Her expression was serious, eyes warm. Sounds ominous. She sat on the bed's edge. Nix stood beside her, practically vibrating. Cade Thorne, you've saved my daughter's life twice. You've become part of our family. And you've shown me it's possible to love again. Sarah took a breath. In Zafirian culture, when someone proves themselves through repeated acts of selfless courage, they may be invited to join the family permanently through a ceremony called Shalaran. Cade's heart started racing. Sarah, what? I'm asking you to marry me, Zafirian style. It's called bonding, a permanent joining of souls' lives' destinies. Cannot be broken once completed. You'd be my husband, Nix's father, a full member of my clan. The words hung in the air. Cade stared speechless. I know this is sudden, Sarah continued. I know you're still healing, but life is short and uncertain. I don't want to waste time being afraid. Yes, Cade interrupted. Sarah blinked. What? Yes, I'll marry you, bond with you, whatever you call it. Yes. Nick squealed and jumped. Sarah looked stunned. You don't want time to think. I've spent 5 years thinking. Thinking got me nowhere. You're asking me to be part of a family. Why would I say no? Because it's permanent. Because you'd be tied to us forever. Kate took her hand. Sarah, I watched you charge into a battle you might have lost to save me. I have seen you be a mother and warrior, and the strongest person I've ever met. If you're willing to take a chance on a broken cargo worker, I'm willing to take a chance on forever. Sarah kissed him. Nix cheered. Nurses applauded. When they broke apart, Sarah was crying happy tears. The ceremony will be in 3 weeks. I'll teach you the words, traditions. It'll be public Zafirian bondings are witnessed by community. I can handle public. And you're sure, absolutely sure. Cade looked at Nix, grinning so hard her face might split. Then at Sarah, who looked at him like he was precious. I've never been more sure of anything. Nix handed him the ceremonial crystal. It pulsed with warmth, responding to his touch. Welcome to the family, Papa Cade, she whispered. And just like that, Cade Thorne, who'd spent 5 years alone, who thought he'd never be whole, became part of something bigger. Outside New Haven, turned through space, Earth shone below, and somewhere in the corridors, people lived and loved and fought for another day. Cade had saved them, and they'd saved him right back. Private quarters. Quiet. Too quiet. Cade sat on his bed's edge, ceremonial crystal resting in his palm, pulsing with soft blue light warm against the skin. In 3 weeks, this crystal would bind him permanently to Sarah and Nix. Make him family, in a way that couldn't be undone. He should be happy. Instead, terrified. The door chimed. Come in. Nix entered in sleep clothes, climbed onto the bed beside him, violet eyes curious. You're thinking too loud. Mama says when you think too loud, it means you're scared. Your mama is smart. So what are you scared of? How did you explain Sarabbar's guilt to an 8-year-old? I'm scared I'm not good enough. You and your mom deserve better than a cargo worker with nightmares. Nix tilted her head considering. You know what Mama told me about you? What? She said you're like the old Earth warriors in my books. The ones without magic swords or super strength. They just had brave hearts, and that's better than any weapon. Kate felt his throat tighten. Kid, and you know what else? Nix leaned against his shoulder. You look at me the way you look at that picture of your sister, like I'm worth protecting, like I matter. She pulled back serious and earnest. Mama says everyone needs someone who looks at them like that, someone who sees them and thinks, I would fight the whole galaxy for you. You look at us like that, Cade, and we look at you the same way. The words broke something in Cade's chest. He pulled Nix into a hug. She wrapped small arms around his neck. I'm still scared. That's okay. Brave people are always scared. They just do the right thing anyway. A knock. Sarah stood in the doorway, watching with love and concern. Nick's bed. It's late. But Cade needs, I'll talk to him. Go on. Nix hugged Cade once more, scampered off. Sarah took her place, sitting close enough their shoulders touched. She's right about the brave heart. Sarah's voice was gentle. It's what drew me to you. Not strength or skills, your heart. My heart is full of holes from people I've lost. So is mine. We can be broken together. Kate turned to look at her. In dim light she looked younger, vulnerable, not Commander Thane. Just Sarah, a woman who'd lost, who'd built walls, who was choosing to tear them down. What if I fail you? What if I can't protect you or Nix? Then we'll fail together. But Cade, I'm not asking for perfect. I'm asking for present. To be part of this family, to wake up every day and choose us the way you've been choosing us since those tunnels. She took his hand, the one holding the crystal, fingers intertwined around glowing stone. My husband died a hero, saved thousands. I was proud, but he also left me alone to raise our daughter, left me to grieve and be strong simultaneously. I resented him even though it wasn't fair. Sarah, Let me finish. When I met you, I saw someone who kept choosing heroism. I was terrified. Terrified you'd die like he did. That Nix would lose another father figure. That I'd lose someone I loved again. She turned to face him, fully eyes shining. But then I realized something. You're not trying to die gloriously. You're trying to live meaningfully. There's a difference. My husband ran toward death because it was duty. You run toward danger because you can't live with yourself if you don't help. One is about honor. The other is about love. I can't promise to always come back. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to promise to try, to fight to come home to us, to be as relentless about living as you are about saving people. Cade looked at the crystal. Their joined hands. The woman who'd seen past his broken pieces and decided he was worth fighting for. He thought about Lily, the promise he'd made to her grave that he'd make his life count, that he wouldn't waste the years she'd never get. Lily would have liked Sarah, would have loved Nix, would have told him to stop being an idiot and grab happiness. Okay, he said. I'm in all the way, no more running. Sarah's smile was sunrise. She pressed her forehead against his, the gesture of deep connection. Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for giving me something worth choosing. They sat like that, two broken people deciding to be whole together. Tomorrow would bring challenges, dangers. But tonight they had this. Peace, hope, family. It was enough. 65 and above. Preparation. The next 3 weeks passed in a blur. Sarah taught Cade the intricacies of Zafirian bonding, words, gestures, meanings. They sat together evenings after Nick slept, reviewing step by step. When the priest asks if you accept the bond, you'll say, Keltharan Marseva, I accept with my whole soul. Sarah demonstrated the gesture. Then hand over heart, then over mind. Cade practiced. It felt formal, weighty, important. What if I mess up? Ceremony is about intention, not perfection. As long as you mean it, words don't matter as much. She smiled. Though it'd be nice if you didn't accidentally promise to clean my weapons for eternity. Those words sound very similar. I'll try to avoid that. During days, Cade continued cargo work, though people treated him differently now. They knew about the tunnels, the reactor, the Vorax attack. Some looked at him with respect. Others with caution, like a bomb that might explode. Peters, his shift supervisor, pulled him aside one afternoon. Thorne, you've got vacation saved. Why not take it? Enjoy time before you're bonding. I'd rather work. Keeps my mind occupied. Peters studied him. When I first met you 5 years ago, you looked like a ghost, already dead and hadn't noticed yet. Thanks. Poetic. I'm serious. But now you look alive. It's good to see. Peters clapped his shoulder. Take the time. Spend it with your family. The cargo bay will survive. So Cade took the time. Discovered being part of a family was a full-time job. Nix demanded help with school projects always involving earth animals requiring extensive storytelling. Sarah taught him Zafirian cooking, which involved spices that made his eyes water. One evening preparing dinner, Sarah said casually, I've been thinking about after the bonding. Oh, I want to request a station side posting, something keeping me on New Haven instead of deployed with the fleet. Cade looked up from chopping vegetables. Sarah, you love commanding your ship. I love my family more. Nix needs stability. We both do. She met his eyes. Unless you think that's a mistake. I think it's one of the smartest things I've ever heard. She smiled, relieved. Good. Because I already submitted the request, I'll be New Haven's chief of security. Same rank, different responsibilities. More time home. What did your superiors say? They said if I was choosing a human cargo worker over commanding a starship, I'd clearly lost my mind. Then they approved it. She moved closer, hand finding his. I spent 8 years being the perfect officer. Always on duty. Always strong. I think it's time I tried being the imperfect wife and mother instead. You'll be terrible at imperfect. I know. You'll have to help me. They kissed. Nix made gagging sounds from the doorway. Gross. You're supposed to save kissing for after you're married. Bonded. Sarah corrected. And we're practicing. Practice quieter, I'm trying to read. After Nix retreated, Sarah and Cade looked at each other and laughed. Real genuine laughter from happiness. "This is really happening," Cade said. "In days I'm going to be your husband, Nix's father." Having second thoughts. "No, just grateful. I spent 5 years thinking my life was over, that I'd never feel anything but guilt and grief. But you two gave me a reason to live again." Sarah's eyes glistened. "We saved each other, Cade. All three of us." 70 Kamabuts. The ceremony begins. New Haven's main docking bay had been transformed into something magical. Blue and silver banners hung from ceilings. Bioluminescent flowers covered the floor. They grew only on Zafiria's northern continent, cost a fortune to import. Chairs arranged in a semicircle facing a raised platform. People were arriving, Zafirian officers in dress uniforms, human station workers, alien diplomats and traders. Even Admiral Corvin came, his blue Andorian skin almost matching decorations. Cade stood in a side room adjusting ceremonial robes for the 20th time, flowing midnight blue fabric with silver threading. He felt ridiculous and important. Peters appeared. "You clean up nice, Thorn." "I feel like I'm wearing a curtain." "A very expensive curtain." Peters grinned. "Ready. Honestly terrified." "Good answer. Anyone not scared before their wedding is lying or stupid." He pulled out a small flask. "Whiskey. From Earth. Thought you might need a shot of home." Cade took a sip. The burn was familiar, comforting. "Thanks. You deserve this. Happiness, family, all of it." Peters put away the flask. "For what it's worth, I think she's getting the better deal. You haven't seen me in the mornings." The door opened. Admiral Corvin entered, expression unreadable. "Admiral," Cade said, suddenly nervous. "I didn't expect. I came to tell you something, Mr. Thorne." Corvin's voice was gruff. "When Sarah submitted her transfer request, I was against it. I thought she was making a mistake. Giving up command for a human civilian seemed unwise." Cade's stomach sank. "But then I reviewed her reports, read about what you did in those tunnels, in the reactor, during the Vorax attack." Corvin stepped closer. "You're not military, no formal training. By all accounts, you should have died half a dozen times. But you didn't, because you're too relentless to quit." The Admiral held out his hand. "I was wrong about you, Thorne. Sarah isn't making a mistake. She's making the smartest decision of her life. Welcome to the family." Cade shook his hand, stunned. "Thank you, sir." "Don't thank me yet. If you hurt her or that little girl, I'll space you personally. Understand?" "Completely, sir." Corvin nodded and left. Peters whistled. Terrifying and heartwarming simultaneously. "That's my life now." Music began playing. Zafirian flutes, haunting and beautiful. Time. Cade walked onto the platform. The bay was packed easily. 300 people, all watching, waiting. His hands started shaking. This was real. Then he saw Nix, near the front wearing shimmering silver. When she saw him, her face lit up with the biggest smile. She waved, bouncing. Just like that, fear faded. Because this wasn't about the crowd or ceremony or getting words right. This was about that little girl who decided he was worth loving, about giving her the father she deserved. The music shifted. The crowd turned. Sarah entered the bay. Cade forgot how to breathe. She wore traditional Zafirian bonding robes, white fabric, shimmering with inner light, covered in intricate patterns, telling her family's history. Silver hair unbound flowing down her back. No jewelry except a single crystal pendant, the mate to Cade's. But her face captured him. She was crying, happy tears, catching light as she walked toward him. Her eyes never left his. She climbed the platform, took his hands. Her fingers trembled. "Hi," she whispered. "Hi, yourself. You look..." "If you say I look like a starship commander, I'm canceling this." "I was going to say you look like home." Her tears fell faster. "Damn you, Cade Thorne. You're going to ruin my makeup." The Zafirian priest stepped forward. An elderly female with skin faded to pale blue. She raised hands for silence. "We gather to witness the Shalaran, The bonding of souls. This is not marriage as humans know it. This is permanent, unbreakable, sacred. Her voice carried. Sarah Thane, daughter of House Morvan, and Cade Thorne, son of Earth, have chosen to join their lives forever. Who speaks for them? Nix stepped forward. I do. I'm Nix, and Cade is my guardian, and Mama's love, and my papa, and the bravest person I know. Gentle laughter rippled. The priest smiled. And do you accept this bonding, child? Yes, 1,000 times yes. Then let the ceremony begin. The priest turned to Cade. Cade Thorne, do you accept Sarah as your bonded partner? Do you swear to protect her honor, her stand with her in joy and sorrow, peace and war for all your days? Cade looked at Sarah, at the woman who'd given him a reason to live, who'd seen his broken pieces and decided they were worth keeping. Keltaran Marseva, he said the words clear and strong. I accept with my whole soul. He placed his hand over his heart, then over hers, felt her heartbeat beneath his palm, quick and strong and alive. The priest turned to Sarah. Sarah Thane, do you accept Cade as your bonded partner? Do you swear to cherish him, support him, stand with him in joy and sorrow, peace and war for all your days? Keltharan Marseva, Sarah said, I accept with my whole soul. She mirrored his gesture, hand warm against his chest. Nix stepped forward with the ceremonial crystal, glowing brighter throughout the ceremony. The priest took it, held it between their joined hands. This crystal has absorbed your intentions, your promises, your souls recognizing each other. When you accept it together, the bonding will be complete. There is no going back. Are you certain? Yes, they said together. Then, by ancient Zafirian laws, by witness of this community, by choice of your own hearts, the bay's emergency alarms screamed to life. Red lights flashed. Holographic display lit up with tactical data. Through the bay's massive windows, Cade saw it. A Vorax battleship, 10 times larger than before. Weapon ports glowing, charging for assault. The priest stood frozen. The crowd erupted in panic. But Sarah's hand tightened on Cade's. They're here for us, she said. Krax is doing his final revenge. A voice boomed over the station's system. Krax's voice transmitted from the battleship. Commander Thane, Cade Thorne, you have 10 minutes to surrender yourselves or we destroy New Haven Station. All 40,000 souls. Your choice, your bonding, or their lives. The crowd stampeded toward exits. Marines shouted orders. But everyone knew the truth. One battleship against the station with minimal defenses, slaughter. Sarah looked at Cade. Her eyes were fierce. We're not surrendering. Damn right. But we can't let them destroy the station. So what do we do? Nix grabbed both their hands. We fight together like a family. And in that moment, staring at his almost wife and soon-to-be daughter, Cade had an idea. Crazy, reckless, probably suicidal, perfect. I have a plan, he said. But Sarah, you're going to hate it. She kissed him hard and fast. Tell me anyway. 75 Urawar. The bait plan. The command center was chaos. Officers shouting. Tactical displays showing the Vorax battleship. Countdown timer 8 minutes until Krax's deadline. Sarah stood at the center, projecting calm she didn't feel. Cade beside her, Nix protected between them. Options, Sarah demanded. Station weapons are online, but designed for small raiders, her tactical officer reported. That battleship has shields that can absorb anything we throw at it. If we attack first, they'll fire back. Station shields won't last 30 seconds. Evacuation. 40,000 people, we'd need hours. We have minutes. So we're trapped. Admiral Corwin had joined them, face grim. We surrender, they kill Sarah and Thorne. We fight, they kill everyone. No, Sarah said. All eyes turned. There's a third option. For 30 years, Sarah had let others' superiors' protocols, rules dictate her choices. She'd been the perfect officer, following orders, maintaining discipline. But this time her family was at stake. This time she would lead. We give them what they want, but on our terms. Sarah pulled up a station schematic. Cracks wants us dead, wants to watch us die. That's his weakness, he wants a show. So Corwin asked. So we give him one. I take a strike team hidden in a cargo shuttle's hold. Kate goes as bait in the cockpit, broadcasting his surrender. While Cracks is focused on him, I board the battleship and take out their bridge. Without leadership, the Voraks scatter. The command center erupted. That's insane. You'll be killed. They'll detect the team. Enough. Sarah's voice cut through. This plan requires Kate to face Cracks alone while we get into position. It requires trust, and it requires all of you to follow my orders without question. She looked at her tactical officer. How many troops can we hide in a cargo shuttle? Commander, you're not actually. How many? 20. Maybe 25 if stacked tight. Get me 25 of our best Marines, full combat gear, prep shuttle 7, reinforced hull and stealth plating. Orders flew, officers scattered. In 5 minutes, they'd assembled a strike team. Cade was suiting up light armor, emergency oxygen. Sarah worked beside him, movements sharp and focused. I hate this plan, Cade said. I know. If something goes wrong, Sarah grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. Nothing will go wrong, because I'm the best warrior you've ever seen, and I will get to you in time. How can you be so sure? Because I'm not losing you. Not now. Not when we were so close. Nyx appeared still in her silver dress. Papa Cade, you have to come back. We didn't finish the ceremony. Cade knelt, pulling her into a hug. I promise I'll try my absolute hardest. Can you be brave? Only if you're brave too. Deal. A Marine sergeant appeared. Commander strike team loaded, shuttle ready. Sarah looked at Cade, at the man she was about to marry, at the future they'd almost claimed. Don't you dare die before I get to call you husband. Then you better move fast, Commander. They kissed. Everything they hadn't had time to say poured into that moment. Then, Sarah disappeared into the shuttle's cargo bay with her team. Cade climbed into the pilot's seat, hands shaking as he activated controls. Through the cockpit window, the Voraks battleship waited. Patient, confident. This was crazy, but crazy was better than 40,000 deaths. He opened a comm channel, broadcasting to every screen on New Haven and to the battleship. Cracks, this is Cade Thorne. I'm coming to you. Let the station go. This is between us. Silence. Then, Crax's grinding voice filled the shuttle. The human hero, finally showing sense. Come to us, Thorne. Come die like you should have died months ago. Cade launched the shuttle. Behind him, hidden in cargo, Sarah and 25 Marines prepared for war. This was it, no going back. 78 is down from the trap. The shuttle crossed the distance in painful slow motion. Cade watched the massive Voraks vessel grow larger hull, scarred from 100 battles. Weapon ports tracked his tiny shuttle like predator eyes. Thorne, Sarah's voice through his earpiece private channel. We're in position. As soon as you dock, we'll move. Copy that. And Cade, I love you. In case I don't get to say it later, you'll say it at our bonding ceremony, which we're finishing as soon as this is over. Relentless man, you love that about me. I really do. The battleship's docking bay opened like a mouth. Cade guided the shuttle inside. The moment he crossed the threshold, bay doors slammed shut. Magnetic clamps locked onto the shuttle. Voraks warriors appeared, at least 50 weapons raised, and in the center, wearing armor decorated with bones and trophies, stood Cracks. He'd grown thinner in prison, meaner, eyes burning with hate. Cade opened the shuttle door, stepped out, hands raised. Here I am. Let's get this over with. Cracks approached slowly, savoring the moment. The guardian, the hero, the human who made us look weak. He backhanded Cade across the face. You should have stayed dead in those tunnels. Cade spat blood. Probably, but I'm relentless that way. Cracks laughed. Yes, you are. That's what makes this so satisfying. He gestured to warriors. Strip him, chain him. I want everyone to watch this. Voraks' hands grabbed Cade roughly. tore off his armor, leaving just his flight suit. Heavy chains, designed for dangerous criminals, locked around wrists and ankles. Cracks activated a station-wide broadcast. Every screen on the battleship and back on New Haven showed the docking bay, showed Cade chained and surrounded. "People of New Haven," Cracks announced, "this is what happens to those who defy the Vorax Syndicate. Watch as we break your hero. Watch as he screams. And know that you are next." Cade caught movement in peripheral vision. The shuttle's cargo door cracking open just an inch. Sarah and her team getting into position. He needed to buy them time. "Is this the part where you monologue about your evil plan?" Cade asked. "Because I've had a long day, and I'd like to skip to the part where you realize you've made a terrible mistake." Cracks's eyes narrowed. "Mistake. Yeah, you see, you think you've won, got me chained, got New Haven threatened, got everything under control." Cade smiled. "But you made one critical error." "And what's that?" "You assumed I came alone." The cargo bay door exploded outward. So muddled the final battle, Sarah Thane emerged from the shuttle like an avenging angel. Combat armor gleamed, weapon already firing. Behind her came 25 Zafirian Marines, the most elite warriors in the sector. The Vorax barely had time to react. Marines moved with lethal precision, each trained for close quarters combat. Energy bolts lit up the docking bay. Vorax warriors fell, but Cracks was fast. He grabbed Cade, putting a shock baton to his throat. "Stop!" Cracks bellowed. "Stop or the human dies." Sarah froze. Her Marines held position. For a moment, the bay was silent except sparking damaged systems. Cracks's breath was hot on Cade's neck. "You think you're clever, Commander. Think you've outsmarted us. I have your precious human. Surrender or I'll..." Cade drove his head backward with all his strength. Skull connected with Cracks's nose with a satisfying crunch. The Vorax staggered, releasing Cade. Now Sarah. Sarah didn't hesitate. Her shot took Cracks in the shoulder, spinning him. Marines rushed forward, engaging remaining Vorax. The docking bay became a war zone. Energy bolts crisscrossed space. Vorax fought with desperate fury, but they were disorganized, leaderless. Marines cut through them methodically. Cracks, wounded and enraged, charged at Sarah. She met him head-on. The collision would have killed a human, but her combat armor absorbed impact. She grappled with the massive Vorax, each trying to gain leverage. "You took everything from me," Cracks roared. "My crew, my freedom, my honor. You tried to kill my daughter," Sarah snarled back. "You tortured the man I love. You threatened 40,000 innocent people." They broke apart, circling. Cracks pulled out a curved blade, traditional Vorax weapon designed to inflict maximum pain. Sarah drew her own blade, Zafirian steel forged in old ways. They came together in a clash of sparks and fury. Cracks was larger, stronger, but Sarah was faster, more skilled. She'd been training for combat since childhood. Every move was precise, economical, deadly. Cade, still chained, could only watch, heart hammering as Sarah ducked under a slash that would have taken her head. As she countered with a strike opening a cut across Cracks's ribs, the Vorax was slowing. Blood loss and rage making him sloppy. He overextended on a thrust. Sarah caught his blade arm twisted, drove her knee into his elbow. Bone cracked. Cracks howled. But he wasn't done. With his offhand, he grabbed Sarah by the throat, lifted her off the ground. Her blade fell from her grip. "Die, Commander!" Cracks hissed. "Die knowing you failed." Light exploded behind him. Nix stood in the shuttle doorway, holding the ceremonial bonding crystal. It blazed with blue-white brilliance, responding to her desperate need, channeling energy Cade didn't understand. The light hit Cracks's eyes. He screamed, temporarily blinded, and dropped Sarah. She hit the ground, rolled, came up with her blade. In one smooth motion, she drove it through Cracks's chest. The Vorax leader staggered, looked down at the blade protruding from armor, then at Sarah. "You were supposed to..." Be weak. I was never weak, Sarah said quietly. I was just alone. I'm not alone anymore. Cracks fell. The remaining Vorax warriors, seeing their leader dead, lost their will. They threw down weapons. Marines secured them quickly. It was over. Sarah ran to Cade's hands, shaking as she worked on his chains. Are you hurt? Did he? I'm fine. You came in time. You always do. The chains fell away. Cade pulled Sarah into his arms, feeling her heart racing against his chest. They were both shaking, both alive. Nyx ran to them, still clutching the crystal. She squeezed between them. They held her tight. We won, the little girl whispered. We're safe. Yeah, kid, Cade said. We're safe. A Marine sergeant approached. Commander, battleship is secure. Minimal casualties on our side. The station is reporting other Vorax vessels in the area are fleeing. Word of Krax's death is spreading. Sarah nodded, still holding Cade. Get control of battleship systems. Prep it for tow back to station. And get me a comm line to New Haven. Tell them the threat is over. As the sergeant moved away, Admiral Corwin's voice came through Sarah's communicator. Commander Thane, I'm watching the feed. Impressive work. You and your team just saved 40,000 lives. Thank you, sir. There's something else. The whole sector has been watching. Your battle with Krax was broadcast across 17 systems. I think he wanted everyone to see his victory. Instead, they saw a Zafirian commander and a human civilian take down a battleship with 25 Marines. Sarah looked at Cade. He looked back, both thinking the same thing. They'd become symbols. Sir, Sarah said carefully. Does this mean? It means you're going to have reporters, politicians, and glory seekers hounding you for months. But it also means something else. Corwin's voice softened. It means you've shown the galaxy what we can accomplish when we stand together. Human and alien, warrior and civilian, family. The word hung in the air, family. Speaking of which, Corwin continued, you have an unfinished ceremony to complete. The priest is still waiting. Most of your guests have returned. They're not leaving until they see you two properly bonded. Sarah laughed, exhaustion and joy and disbelief. Tell them we'll be right there. Beppen Murrow, the completed ceremony. 30 minutes later, Cade stood on the platform in New Haven's main docking bay. For the second time that day, still in his flight suit, torn and blood-stained. Sarah was in combat armor, scorched from battle. They looked nothing like the perfect couple who'd started the ceremony. They looked exactly right. The crowd had returned, not all but enough. They stood in witness, these people who'd watched Sarah and Cade fight for survival, who'd seen them refuse to surrender, who'd seen them win. The priest stepped forward. She was smiling. Well, the elderly Zafirian said, that was the most dramatic interruption I've witnessed in 60 years of ceremonies. Shall we try again? Please, Sarah said, before something else explodes. The priest held up the bonding crystal, the one Nyx had used to blind Krax. It still glowed, pulsing with warmth. We reached the final step before interruption, the acceptance of the bond. Are you both still certain? Cade and Sarah looked at each other. They'd just fought a battle together, trusted each other with their lives, protected each other and Nyx. Yes, Cade said. Absolutely, Sarah agreed. Then place your hands together on the crystal. They did. The moment their skin touched its surface, light blazed, warm, almost hot. Cade felt something shift in his chest, like a door opening, like coming home. The priest's voice rang out. By your choice, by your courage, by your commitment to each other and to the child you protect, I declare you bonded. May your souls walk together for all your days. May your love be a shield against darkness. May your family be a beacon for others. She lowered the crystal. Cade Thorne and Sarah Thane, you are now one family bound for eternity. The crowd erupted in cheers. Nyx squealed and jumped. Sarah grabbed Cade's face and kissed him, not the gentle Zafirian way, but the fierce human way that promised forever. When they broke apart, both were crying. We did it, Sarah whispered. We actually did it. Told you I'd make it to the ceremony. You also told me to move fast. I believe my exact time from Shuttle Bay to Crax's chest was 4 minutes. Show off. Nix crashed into them, wrapping arms around their legs. I have a papa, a real papa, bonded forever. Kate picked her up. She was getting too big, but he didn't care. You're stuck with me now, kid. No returns. Good, because you're the best papa in the whole galaxy. The crowd surged forward, wanting to congratulate Touch to be part of the story. But for a moment, the three of them stood in their own bubble. A family, complete. Admiral Corvain appeared at the platform's edge. Commander Mr. Thorne, I hate to interrupt, but you're being hailed. By whom? Sarah asked. Everyone. The Galactic Council, Earth Government, 6 news networks, and... He paused, looking uncomfortable. The Etherian Confederacy. They want to discuss hiring you two for a rescue mission. Apparently their children have been taken by slavers and they heard about what you did today. Sarah and Cade exchanged glances, then looked at Nix. What do you think? Cade asked. Should we help? Nix considered seriously, then nodded. We're a family, and families protect each other. Maybe we should protect other families too. Sarah smiled. When did you get so wise? I learned from the best. Many the epilogue. 3 months later. The observation deck was quiet at this hour. Most of the station asleep, but Cade liked late shifts when he could stand at the window and watch Earth turn below. Sarah found him there carrying 2 mugs of tea. She handed him one, stood beside him, shoulder touching his. Can't sleep. Just thinking about how much has changed. 6 months ago I was alone, no family, no purpose, just moving boxes and trying not to feel. And now I'm married to the most incredible woman in the galaxy. I'm the father of the bravest little girl I've ever met. And apparently, I'm some kind of symbol of human-alien cooperation. Sarah laughed softly. The Galactic Council did go overboard with that medal ceremony. I still can't believe they made us ambassadors. Honorary ambassadors. Mostly symbolic. She sipped tea. Though the Etherian mission was very real and very successful. They'd spent the last month helping Etherians rescue their children from a slaver ring. Dangerous, exhausting, ultimately triumphant. 23 children returned to families. Slavers facing justice across 3 systems. I got a message today, Cade said. From Kelvor, the Trilaxian I pulled from the reactor. Oh, he wanted to tell me his daughter just started school. Included a picture. Cade pulled up his datapad, showing a young Trilaxian girl with bright orange skin grinning. He said if I ever need anything at all, I just have to ask. Said I gave him the chance to watch his daughter grow up. He'll never forget that. Sarah was quiet. Then, you gave a lot of people that chance, me included. You gave me a chance too, gave me a reason to keep living. They stood together watching stars. Down the hall, they could hear Nix's soft breathing. Their daughter, their family. A chime from Sarah's communicator. She checked it, smiled. What a new mission request. Century Diplomatic Corps. They want us to mediate a peace negotiation between 2 colony worlds. Apparently they trust us because we represent the best of what different species can accomplish together. Do we take it? That depends. How do you feel about spending 2 weeks on a Century diplomatic vessel with formal dinners and political negotiations? Cade groaned. Sounds awful. I know. But they're offering to pay for Nix's education. Full scholarship to any academy in the galaxy. Then I guess I can suffer through formal dinners. Sarah kissed his cheek. That's my relentless hero. They turned from the window. Hand in hand, walked back toward their quarters. Toward their daughter. Toward their life together. Cade Thorne had spent 5 years trying to die meaningfully. Instead, he'd learned to live meaningfully. With a family he'd chosen and who'd chosen him back. With a purpose extending beyond his own pain. He'd become a guardian, a husband, a father, a symbol. But most importantly, he'd become whole. And as he climbed into bed beside Sarah, feeling her warmth against his side, listening to Nick's breathe in the next room, he finally understood what Lily would have wanted. Not to waste his life trying to make up for hers, but to live fully, to love completely, to protect fiercely, to be happy. Outside, stars turned in their endless dance. New Haven Station continued its orbit. And somewhere in the galaxy, other families were being torn apart, needing someone to stand for them. Tomorrow, Cade and Sarah would answer another call, fight another battle, save more lives. But tonight, they were just a family, safe, together, complete. It was enough. It was everything.